It was through some of the darkest times of my life when spirit began to make itself known to me through signs and clues from the other side. It helped me understand that I was not alone, that I was connected, and there was more to life than just this experience. I called those magic moments. I'm Christy Simoncelli, and I'll be your host for this podcast, Unreasonable Magic, where I will share some of the most compelling stories that cannot be explained away through logic from my work as a psychic medium, an astrologer, and a human design consultant, working with clients in my own life. Please join me for the magic. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Unreasonable Magic. I am Christy Simoncelli, your host. I have the sage with me today, Peggy Wierzbicki. Thank you for coming back, Peggy.
My pleasure.
This is episode 10. We're so excited. I have to share this because I kept double checking, triple checking the statistics, and y'all love having Peggy here. So if it's the questions and the asking and the answering, I'm not sure. Whatever it is makes people very happy. So we are glad to come back, and we have some more questions today. But first, I have to share one of our listeners from last time. Well, everybody reached out, first of all, to say that they got something from the messaging. So that's great. And remember, you too can have a question on here. Free advice from a wise woman and a woman who knows too much about numbers. One of our listeners who had written in, who had a question about her business partner and possibly retiring and getting a new space for her next business venture. And she reached out to say, not only did some of the stuff Peggy say about Peggy's painting and her Mackenzie Childs stuff, while she was on vacation, without knowing, she was in front of a Mackenzie Childs store, which I didn't even know that that was a thing.
Yeah.
When she heard about this, she had asked for a big sign. She's like, I want a big sign, not a little sign. I want a big sign. And then she turned to notice she was standing in front of a Mackenzie Childs store. And she was like, whoa. Anyway, she did end up that she has gone ahead. She's going to take the space for the next year, starting in the fall. She didn't know if it was really even an option. But we feel like we maybe had a hand in pushing her, which I don't like to be pushy. Well, sometimes I do, but not in these capacities. We just want to give you the information and let you decide what feels right. And I would invite anybody, if you're listening today, even if these questions don't necessarily pertain to you, you might hear a phrase, you might have an aha moment, a wisdom.
Exactly. That is what happened, because I didn't really tell her what to do or steer her in any direction. It was that Mackenzie Child stuff was just an aside.
It was fluffy
from what we were talking about.
Yes.
All I said was, I like to paint furniture in the Mackenzie Child style. It had nothing to do with her question.
But what a random connection.
Yes.
I didn't even know this was a store.
Oh, yeah.
I know what the stuff looks like, but I didn't know it was a store. Yeah. Also, I think what we have encouraged everyone, and this is going to be on our merch, will say, you don't have enough information.
Oh, well,
because people
often true.
Don't have enough information. And so I think that's the biggest takeaway from all of this, is to get more information before we're making movements with life.
So you can make a good decision. Yes.
Yeah. So in contrast to last time, this time we have questions from a younger listenership, I would say. So people who, I don't think anybody's even 40, which for me is like, that's young, folks. Okay, I'm sorry. I used to think, I remember the day I turned 30, I was like, oh, and then 40, oh, and then 50, oh. But anyway, you guys got it going on. So enjoy your youth while you have it. But I think it's just funny how these things roll up. A group last time, which had a lot to do with people who are looking to transition into retirement and the next phase of life after major accomplishments, and then wanting to really kind of do what lands for them. And now this time, more people on more of a beginning part of their journey and things that they're looking for. But there was one conversation I had with a listener recently about life, really. And I wanted to pose it to the sage because I have my own opinions. We were talking about relationship stuff, and I said, and this is why I have trouble with the concept of soulmates. And she said, really? Like, I'm surprised to hear you say that. And I know everyone thinks I think everything means something and is lined up. And I do. I think the people that come into our life are a thing. But it's the concept of soulmate that I have trouble with. To suggest that there's only one person. I mean, some people do have one person, and that's great. And that's what happens for them. But I would say the vast majority of people meet many people over the course of life who are potentially part of our soul tribe. That's how I look at it, not as like the person who's going to, complete you, because that's so silly of a concept, but the person who is here to teach you a lesson. And sometimes soulmates can be jerks.
I never
think.
thought of that.
That's my opinion.
Would it make them a soulmate?
Here to teach you something. They're part of your soul tribe. How do you feel about this concept?
It never really resonated with me in that anything I was looking for or I felt. I know when I look at somebody, I can tell right away if that person is my kind of person.
They're in your group or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I one time wrote, even in my journal, I was like, a list of the people who, when I met, I either felt like a Shazam, like an electricity moment. And it's girlfriends and colleagues. It's not all like love interest.
Oh, for sure.
In fact, infrequently is it that. It's more those other people.
Yeah.
And I like to think of them as our teachers, the people that you have. It's like, I know you.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I know you. So I think we need to take soulmate off of the romance train and off of the Hallmark movies.
For sure.
Because why?
Well, is life a Hallmark movie?
Never.
No one I know.
That's why everyone likes
a Hallmark life.
That's why the people who watch them enjoy them.
Oh, well, that is true. Yeah. Well, it's an escape.
So let's get to our listener questions, because we have 4 of them today. And we want to make sure that we can answer everyone's questions appropriately. Our first question asker was actually cool with us using her real name. So Mackenzie, this one is for you. And so Mackenzie says, am I proceeding down my right path, or do I need to stop and realign with what I'm truly meant to be doing? And she says, I have all these things aligned for me in this path I could continue to take with my job and my relationship, but I'm trying to understand if I should take the chance and continue or reevaluate my situations, and maybe it's not what I'm meant to be doing. I'm going to give this one to you, Peg, because I have very specific thoughts about this one.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind, she said something about her right path. Who says there's only one right path?
Much like the soulmate.
Exactly.
There's only one person?
Exactly. No. You have an opportunity to take many paths right now. And I wouldn't make a decision on one right path. I would sit down, do the pro and con on a piece of paper for each option you have, and pick one and try it for a while. Don't judge it. Pick the next one, try it for a while, and see what happens there. And once you get a taste of what it feels like to be on a certain path, you're going to know if that's the right path. That's how I look at it.
So going on how it feels to be living out these different moments.
I would say the success of what's happening, because there's got to be some changes here.
Success. Right. Would you say that because she's questioning, that maybe these current paths aren't that fulfilling?
One of them was the work, another relationship, job. Do you want to fly by the seat of your pants and just take a chance? You could, but you don't have enough information as to how you want that path to end, whether it be the work path or the relationship path. No, you have to focus, because if you are chaotic and things are all over the place, maybe just, make a cup of good coffee and sit and be quiet and start listening to the voice of logic. I mean, it should come in. It should come in.
Interesting. I'm going to give you my perspective.
Yeah.
Mackenzie is a projector in human design. And projectors are not here to work super hard. They're here to work in bursts. They're here to honor their personal flow. Some days you can jam it out. Some days you need naps, and it's okay. And actually, most of the most successful projectors I know actually build rest into each day, much like you would book in your lunch or whatever. They build rest in. So I want to say that to you, especially if you're feeling the grind and you want to push. Your particular flavor of projector is called a self-projected projector. And I know that's a lot of projecting, but the words there really mean that you have to say your things out loud. It's one of the ways that you will receive information about making decisions. So the advice always for a self-projected projector is to have a trusted sounding board to run your ideas past. So maybe you have a couple girlfriends you could share with, maybe your mom, although mom might be biased because moms tend to be biased. You're not necessarily asking them for their opinion. You need to hear the words outside of your body.
I love that. I agree with that.
Some people I know who have this type will actually, because they don't want to tell anyone what they're doing, which is okay, especially if you have big things or decisions to make, record yourself talking. I don't know what it is, but
That's
when
a
you
great
record
idea.
yourself talking and you're real honest with yourself about the this and the that and what feels good and what does not feel good, all of a sudden you're crying, everything makes sense. You're like, I'm going to have to sit down now. It's like there's a lot that's going on. Mackenzie, you also have a fire dominant chart. So just for our listeners' edification, Mackenzie is a Sagittarius sun, which is conjunct her Sagittarius ascendant. All of that is in her first house, and she has an Aries moon. Okay, so fire, fire everywhere. This is going to make for a very passionate, a very impatient soul who wants to just try everything. The Sagittarius parts especially want to explore, try things out, see all the things. So to me, I see that if all we knew was that you were a Sagittarius sun with a Sagittarius rising, I would say try everything on because that's what you're here to do. You're an experimenter. You're a lifelong learner, a student. You might get to a point where you want to teach people what you've learned. But right now, and this is going to be a through line for every single person who wrote us a question this week, there's a thing happening cosmically, end of July, it's the kickoff, but it's going to continue through the next couple of years. All the outer planets are at 4 degrees, dancing around 4 degrees of the sign that they're in. Your north node, south nodes are at 4 degrees of the sign that they're in. And therefore, those are being aspected by these big outer planet movements. The nodes very much speak to your path forward. They're about our comfort zone and our uncomfort zone, what we need to step away from that we have outgrown and what we need to move towards that is part of our authentic path. Now, I agree, there can be many paths. I've had many paths myself, but I do think sometimes they start to dovetail and they start to line up, but they're definitely a call forward. Right now, the planets of Jupiter and Pluto are exact on those nodes. Jupiter is like the growth and the push forward, and Pluto is the transformer. And so there's no question that you're going to feel the emphasis of this. So it's like, of course you wrote this question in. Of course you were like, I don't know what to do, because you're right now being pushed by the universe to like, what do you really want? How do we explore and try? And I would just say, keep your options open. Use that tool of voicing yourself, asking yourself, just out loudness for you feels really important to me. So that is my wisdom to you, Mackenzie. Peg, any final thoughts on that?
I think you have to go with what your thoughts tell you when you write them down. Your brain is telling you, your logic is telling you to go a certain way. There's no reason you can't have both, just like soulmates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One might be more dominant than the other. My logic is more dominant than my feelings. Yours is just the opposite.
It sure is.
So together, way opposite. I mean, together we seem to come up with an answer for our own lives if we allow ourselves to think about all these things and accept all these options that are available.
Yeah. And you said the word success earlier, which jumped out at me, because for projectors, that's part of knowing that you're on your path if you feel successful. I don't want you to think about monetary success. I want you to think about satisfaction. Do I feel like I've achieved something? Or maybe even set yourself some benchmark so that you'll know when you've arrived to Success Town. I think it's a feeling. You might think it's a place. It might be a number. It might be a something. But success is huge for projectors. So to any projector out there and you're feeling a little bitter, because that's opposite land of success, pay attention. You're not probably on the most authentic path of the moment, called path of the moment for you.
That's good.
And think about stepping more fully into that.
We're going to use that. I like that. That says a lot.
I think it does. Yeah. So thank you, Mackenzie. So our next writer-inner did not want to have her name shared. Her question I wanted to call her Jane. Let's call her Jane because I like it better when people have a name. My husband and I have been having a hard time getting pregnant, and I'm curious if this is something that will happen for us. And if so, I wonder how long the journey will be. She also has reported that she's made a lot of lifestyle changes. She's been feeling very connected to herself lately. She has been feeling strong, happy, and content. She deeply feels like this is something that will happen for them, but she just has been finding herself kind of discouraged.
Get that off the table. Do you accomplish anything with the mindset of being discouraged? Let's call it the Tarzan concept, where you get on that vine, honey, and you start swinging forward to your next challenge, which is having a baby. That's how your mindset has to be. You can't be discouraged. You have to know it's going to happen. And then you have to, once you know it, stop thinking about it. Just go on with everything else, because isn't that kind of how things happen when you least expect them? And you have so much to cheer about when they do. I think it's a better way to think. And how do you get that discouragement out of your head? What works for you? Do you exercise? Do you paint? Do you go for a walk? Do you call a friend? Do you write things down in a journal? Take 5 minutes. You don't even need 5 minutes. And think about how it's going to be once it has happened. Once you are pregnant, once you do have that baby, once that baby's there. Yeah, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. That's how I see it. Too much pressure. Who needs it? The world does it. Let's not do it to ourselves.
Yeah. I think it was kind of like last time we talked about worry and every worry being a prayer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Jane, I just want to say I feel your pain. And amid all the other things I've done in my life, I struggled with fertility. And so it's hard and it's sad and it's heartbreaking and it's many things. And I can remember once for myself walking into a store and I was like, oh, I've been trying to do this for so long. I had been seeing specialists and all these things. And I think I was on a lot of hormones at that point too, which might explain my overt behavior. But this woman was struggling with her children and trying to get one in the car, and she was whacking the kid. And I'm like, how is it that this woman who's completely over the top of her life when can't handle the children she has is doing this in public to her kids and I can't have any? I remember that to this day, and that was a long time ago. And so I feel it. It's real. It's tangible. And I used to get myself tied up in knots about it. And it was so hard. So I don't want to discount the feelings of that because it feels like something you don't have control over. But I do think you're doing all the right things by setting yourself up for success, for making your body a homey environment for a new infestation of people. Because I said too, once I did eventually get pregnant by the assistance of a woman with a turkey baster, but that's a story for another day. I was like, well, how many times in your life are you actually making people? So I had a really easy time giving up things that wouldn't contribute to goodness. So I did allow myself one root beer every week and a peanut butter parfait from Dairy Queen, but I digress. Anyway, Jane is a Capricorn sun. She has a Taurus rising and a Taurus moon. If Mackenzie was our fire queen, Jane is our earth queen. So Jane has all the earth energy. It's like I think perhaps the most earthy chart I've seen in some time. In terms of human design, she is a 1-3 profile. She is a sacral manifesting generator. Okay. I went more to the astrology chart for this because I wanted to look at timing. And one of the things that we do in astrology when we start to consider fertility, we look at the conditions of the moon, we look at the conditions of the first house, we look at Venus, we look at the fifth house, which actually is a house that rules children. So there's a lot that goes into this. And it actually is a thing I've done for women in the past too, if you want to go through like a really deep dive into this. And I'd be happy to work with you on that. You are definitely, I would say, primed for this at this moment. You have a Taurus moon in the first house. So Taurus moon is about the most fertile moon one could have. So you already have that. So the conditions are such that you would be a contender here, for lack of a better word, in the house of the body, right? You've already got that going on. Your progressed moon, which isn't something we've talked a lot about on this show, but it sort of gives like an undertone of what's happening in your life. Your progressed moon is in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is like the moon in its home base, and Cancer is about gestation and creation. And so you've got about a year and a half left of the progressed moon in Cancer. Right now, you're kind of ripe for that. I can definitely look to like July of 2030 when I expect that the second child would come, but this first child, I feel really good about. And I say that with the caveat that I've been there. I understand how this is. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, and I'm always sensitive to this because of what I went through. I understand the pain that can come with this. But your Venus placement, which is one of the other things we look at around parenthood, is at 4 degrees of Sagittarius. 4 degrees is the same thread and through line that everybody has something around that point that has written into us right now. So if anyone's listening and they have a planet at 4 degrees, if they have an angle like the rising at 4 degrees, that part of your chart right now is being lit up like a Christmas tree. Okay. So Mackenzie's nodes are there. Jane, your Venus is there. So I'm feeling really good about this. You get a green light from me. Jupiter is basically in a harmonious relationship to Venus. That's going to peak like now, summer of 26. That's classic, like, let's have a baby moment, okay? Uranus is opposing that, so this might come when you least expect it. Think about it as like a surprise. Pluto is there to support this profound change. I mean, but Neptune's also there squaring it, so you might feel foggy and underwater right now, but just don't trust that. Don't trust the fog. Trust what you feel. You said it. I feel this will happen for us. I feel really good about this. Peggy, I think you also feel good about it. And we feel good because you feel good. And you're the Earth Queen. So not to get your hopes up, but I feel very confidently that this is in the mix for the now. I would say within a year, I would expect that there's some news for us. You could write back and tell us. And then that second baby, like I said, I see it for 2030. And I think at that point, you could become one of those like popcorn popper women that just pop them out like without thought. Yeah. So depending how you feel about that, but that's my thoughts for you, Jane. And I will keep a special little candle for you and your pending baby. So
nice, very nice.
So we feel good about that.
Okay.
So our third writer inner had a little bit more of a lengthy question, but that's okay because we love the context. The context helps so much. This person also did not want to be identified. So we're going to call her Susan.
Okay.
Susan writes in, everything has been feeling chaotic and fast and hard-hitting and blunt. And there's been some fun mixed in with some heaviness, but work is hectic and heavy. I had a situationship that just ended. I'm trying to focus on my physical health, whether I also want to move physical locations has been a call for her. How can I best navigate this frenzied period, and when might things settle out? Oof. Do we want the context?
A little bit.
Okay. So the context, she's been traveling a lot. She's been sort of seeing a man who's been holding out hope that this might work out, but this just recently ended. She had a coworker die, and now her new boss is coming down hard on her and everyone on her team, and she's been thinking about where she really wants to live. And it feels just like every bucket in her life is moving and full, and she's just trying to, I think, tread water.
It sounds to me, Susan, like you're running away by taking on so many things, and so many things are happening to you that you're not able to deal with in a timely fashion or a logical fashion or a fashion that makes sense to you. Normally, I think you do things and take care of business, but right now, it seems like you're spinning. As far as the boss, just draw a line through him, because he has no power over you in the sense that you can decide not to worry about him right now because you have more important things to worry about. As far as the relationship, I think you said you were together for a year maybe.
It was a hopeful, hoping that this would turn into something more. It was a bit of a long distance thing involved there.
Yeah. And what I see here is that's a long time for a long distance. I don't think you took control. I don't think you took control over that situation.
Don't hold back.
I'm trying to be kind. If you, you mean I can really say
this is what people are asking you for.
Yeah. You have to run the show of your love life. If something isn't right, say it then and say, this makes me happier. I'm not real comfortable with that. So what do you think? Do you think we can work on that, or do you think we can agree to disagree on this? You set the tone for your love life. You set the hours, you set the time frame, you set the mood. Really, you set the mood. The next time, I would suggest that you take better control or some control of how you want this relationship to be, to evolve and to grow. A long distance relationship and neither one of you made a commitment to be together on a more permanent basis, that tells me one thing: you guys didn't love each other enough.
And you want that. You need the true partnership.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How long do you want to just be driving or traveling or having someone, stay for a few days and then leave? Is that even a relationship? I don't know. I think that's just a visit.
Situationship were the words that were used, yes.
Well, do you want a situationship or do you want a relationship and a beautiful love life and a
I think
happy
that could
ending?
be the title of this episode. Do you want a situationship or do you want a relationship? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say this to you, Susan. Susan is an Aries sun. Susan has a Capricorn moon and a Scorpio rising. And also Pluto sits exactly on Susan's Scorpio rising. So this is a powerful, energetic woman who has a lot to give, a lot to experience. Let's say that. This past fall, your progressed moon hit a point we call new moon phase. So maybe the year or two leading up to that might have been stressful, tiring, fatiguing, all of that. And then around November, December, at that point, it's a little bit of a breath of fresh air, but it's a rebuilding moment. It's a time to start from fresh, okay? I feel like you're being pushed into the fire here a little bit. You're also at the second of 2 consecutive years that your Time Lord is Saturn, okay? Saturn is here to say, what do you really want? Saturn wants to put the mirror right in your face and say, do you want this? Do you want this? Make a choice. It's a tear it down, get down to the studs kind of a thing. And I don't mean the dude. I mean, if you're remodeling a home, you're establishing yourself somewhere and you're like, I want this to feel like mine. We have to tear it down to the studs sometimes to get it. Because we get in there and we're like, oh, there's musty insulation. There's weird stuff in the walls. You're in the tear it down years, okay? That is ending. And the next year after this is ruled by Jupiter. So that's going to feel a lot more abundant. But this is the thing about Saturn. Saturn can be pushy in that it wants us to have excellence. It wants us to have the best for us. But when Saturn is done working with us, it gives us presence and presence. Let's say both of those things, right? So thinking right now, why are you holding my feet to the fire? Why are you pushing me to do all these things and make all these choices that feel the most aligned for me? Because you are a powerful woman who is here to create the life she wants to have.
She's got to be more of a leader than a follower.
Because she's not a follower. Her chart is bombastically strong, right? By fall, we're going to call it by the holidays, by November, Thanksgiving, Turkey Day, sort of a thing, your progressed moon is going to sextile and make a harmonious, work hard relationship with the midheaven, your career. And it's also there's going to be potential here for healing. But for you, the through line, as I've been talking with all of these other women who've written in, your Capricorn moon is at 3 degrees of Capricorn. So 3 is close enough to 4 for me for you to be on the hit list right now in terms of we're lighting this thing up, right? What do you want? What is going to happen for you? How do you want to proceed? And I will tell you that your progressed moon would have everything to do with your body, where you live, how you live, but it would also have to do with traveling. You've been doing traveling. You love the traveling. I think getting out there more. Think about what you want your base to feel like, because right now the mirror is held up. Is this it? Is this what you signed up for?
Yeah.
Half-assed relationship and sort of a good experience? Or are you here to do it all?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, tear it down. Tear it down. Too much.
Too much. Way too much.
Way too much. We got you though, Susan, because we know that you're here to do great things. So our final question asker today, who wanted to remain anonymous, I'm going to call her Mary. Mary writes in, will I feel confident in the way I look again? She adds context to say she's been struggling to stay consistent with certain lifestyle changes to feel better about herself. You know we all feel this, right?
Wow. I would say, do you love yourself, Mary? Do you love yourself? Are you a good person? Do you have a happy heart when you wake up in the morning before your feet touch the ground? Are you filled with gratitude for the day coming and the day that has passed? That sets how your day is going to go before your feet touch the floor. I'm going to be happy today. I'm going to laugh today. I think I want to meet a new person today. I'm going to be friendly at the grocery store. I'm not going to do anything that's going to make my heart not sing. And then, Mary, your assignment is to start singing a song, a fun song, maybe a song that you remember from childhood.
Can it be Don Gato?
It can be whatever you want. It could be Inagata Davida if you can remember the words. Have you ever done that?
Inagata Davida?
No.
I have sang Don Gato for my children. It was from my childhood music class.
Fantastic.
Oh, Senor Don Gato was a cat. You don't know the song.
Wow.
Do you know the song?
No,
People are going to know this
already.
song. It's such a good song.
No.
I don't know where Senor Don Gato came from. I just know that he became reanimated. Meow, meow, meow.
That's great.
Okay, so Mary.
Okay. Yeah, you're already a beautiful person. You're already a great person. You're not letting you come out. So knock it off, Mary.
Knock it off, Mary. So Mary, I have this to say to you. So Mary, for our listeners' sake, is a Taurus sun. She is a Leo rising and a Libra moon. She is a 5/1 mental projector. So I got extremely excited when I saw that she was a mental projector. That is a very rare, very special sort of person. When I teach classes about human design, which I do often and have for years, I struggle to find mental projectors to use as an example, so I usually end up with Abe Lincoln. So you have that to go on. Anyway, you have a very unique signature to your energy. As a projector, especially a mental projector, your path to finding answers to your own questions is a lot like Mackenzie's. You need to have a sounding board. You need to talk things out. You need to get out of your brain and out of your mouth and let things come to you, okay? You have the planet Jupiter in your birth chart at 4 degrees of Virgo. So much like Susan and Jane and Mackenzie, you have a 4-degree planet. It's shocking. So we're experiencing something on highlight here as well. So this part of your chart is being activated. Jupiter is where we receive blessings and abundance. It is joyful. It is singing songs. And I'm always friendly at the grocery store. Just ask my husband. He hates it when I talk to people. But this is kind of significant to me. You've been going through some changes in the last couple years where I could think that the natural flow of things might not feel aligned for you, but I'm here to say this is all part of your path forward. So maybe even since like June of 2024, there's been some things that might feel a little bit more challenging for you. The biggest thing I can talk to you though about, besides that, knowing that your blessing and abundant planet is getting all the activation from these outer planets, Jupiter also just recently crossed your ascendant. So that is a life moment. That is like every 12 years, this planet that I call the Kool-Aid man, the sugar daddy, whatever you want to call it, handing out the goods, has crossed over your ascendant, which is your soul's purpose. It's setting off a new 12-year cycle in your life. So thinking about you right now, much like Susan and some of the others, you're in charge of how you want this next phase of life to look like. I always encourage my clients who are experiencing a strong Jupiter transit like this to write Jupiter a letter. I know that sounds silly, but write Jupiter a letter and ask for more. I want this. I want to have peace in my body. That's Virgo, right? Ask for what you want. I really appreciate what the last 12 years have been. It's a great time to reflect on the last 12-year cycle, but I'm moving into this next 12 years. What do I want that to feel like? Write it a letter. Write Jupiter a letter. Ask for what you want. Put it away, tuck it away in a journal somewhere. You'll find it later and be like, oh my goodness, look at all these things that happened because I asked for them. The other final thing I will say, as a projector, and this was more of a hit that I got just by looking at your chart, you may be overcommitting. You might be trying to keep up with other people in your life who have more energy. And projectors have plenty of energy, but it ebbs and flows. Projectors, as I said to Mackenzie, need to rest. They need a rest cycle. They have to build that in. They need downtime. They need to like kind of pull back and feel their own energy and replenish the stock. So it's like, if you're a go, go, go kind of person, because I kind of got the sense that you might be, you need to relax, okay? And so I think sometimes our bodies don't respond well to us living out of alignment with them. If you're feeling like I'm not really happy in my body right now, well, your body might be like, hey, could you sit down? Could you take a break? Could you write a nice letter and sing a song and decide what you really want to feel like? Because my guess is you're not doing that stuff.
Right.
You're pushing too hard. And I'm going to say, sit down. Sit down. Without stuff. I say this to my intuitive development group all the time. When was the last time you felt unfettered?
Mm-hmm.
No
Good
phone,
question. Yeah.
no screens, no crazy thought process, no nothing. Just sitting and enjoying yourself. When was the last time you felt unfettered?
You have to make that happen. Oh, I make that happen.
Peggy makes it happen. She's good at unfettering. Yeah. So I'm going to be with Peggy. Knock it off, Mary.
Knock it off, Mary.
Knock it off, Mary. So those are our questions for our listeners. Answers to our listener questions have been given and received. I love doing this. I love the thought that I'm helping someone line up more with what is their natural flow state. I'm wishing, and all of us collectively, calling in a baby for Jane, some fire and excitement for Susan, but calmly. For Mary to find peace in herself, and for Miss Mackenzie to find her most authentic path or paths.
Or paths.
As a Sagittarian, she might just have many paths and just be here to try it all on. So I think this is the thing. Society tells us how to behave, but society is dumb.
Yeah.
We're all different and special in our own way.
And we live so many lives in our lifetime.
So many lives.
So many.
You and I have talked about this, and I know we sort of danced around it last time about even just all the things you've done. We didn't even talk about you raise puppies for the blind people. She's great. She's crazy. She does all these things. Like, we've all lived many lives. Many people probably don't know I struggled with infertility, but that's a thing I can relate to. I've been a single mom. I've been divorced. I've been a lot of things. I've been a person who went back to college in their late 30s, and I don't know how that worked out.
Yes.
We've all been a lot of things.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
And you get to try it all on, which is the most important part. So, yeah. What do you think is the theme that connects all of these listener questions today?
Oh, wow. Everybody needs somebody to sound off to, a sounding board. Like you said, say it out loud. That is so important to take these words that are inside you and let them come up through your mouth out into the air and then go all over the air and the wind and let them take them everywhere. And eventually the answers will come back.
Yeah.
I think in the order they're supposed to.
It's almost like a dandelion. You make a wish, you blow on the little thing.
Yeah.
They go everywhere and then they land where they're supposed to land.
Yeah. You have to get it out. You have to spread it out. You have to say the words and get them out of your body.
Things can get really trapped in our mind and our heart that aren't meant to be there, and that can really block the flow of the rest.
Do I have time for one more thing?
One wow play. Please, Peg, give us a wow.
Sit in front of a mirror and talk to yourself out loud. You will see amazing things happen. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. The best person to give you advice is you. So sit in a chair, sit at your desk, sit at your vanity. I think you should be sitting down. You can do a lot of this in your bathroom mirror, but it's not the same because you're usually in a rush to go somewhere else.
Right.
This is a time that you pour a glass of wine and maybe put a box of tissues next to you and not have any phone calls coming in. But have a good talk with yourself. And even if you have to write down a few points that you want to cover, and then shut up. What?
So good.
Just
shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, just shut up.
Yeah.
And listen and be quiet.
Yeah.
But do it. Do it one time, and then please, can you write in and let us know how it worked?
Yeah.
I mean, it does work. And it doesn't have to be 10 questions or 10 topics. It can be 3. But say it all to you, to yourself in the mirror. Say it all.
Well, I don't think I have anything to add to that. I don't think I've done that, but I don't can't drink the wine anymore. Weird things happen. But I could get some NA wine maybe and do it that way, or a cup of tea. Well, I encourage you all, please, A, if you've been on the show, let us know how things are progressing. We love an update. B, if you want to be included in the next episode, we're going to do this. It'll come out every first Sunday of the month. So if you have questions, get them in. We'll record again for September.
Okay.
So get your questions in. You can send an email to henscrossing@gmail.com. There will also be a link in the show notes where you can add questions there and it'll come in. And remember, you can remain anonymous. I'll give you a fake name maybe, but you can remain anonymous. So anybody needs to know your business. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you to our writers, the people who asked the questions. And thank you all who listen, because of course, none of this would happen without you. We would just be talking to ourselves in a room, which we probably would still do. But
we would. Yes, we would.
We love to have people actually hear it, which is just great. So very soul gratifying for me. So you're all my soulmates. How's that? But yeah. Good luck, everybody, and have a great couple of weeks. And remember, keep looking for your own magic and signs from spirit, because they are all around you.